Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So I am here with another CPA video, and this video is going to be 5 things that I would do differently if I was going to retake the CPA exam. And I really thought long and hard about these items because I know my study routine changed a lot. So some of it has to do with my study routine and some of it just has to do with like general things that I did that I realized after the fact were really stupid. So anyway, I want to get this pretty quickly done because I do have to go back to work. I'm on my lunch break. I'm always in my car for these videos, so I felt like this would be perfect and it's a good time for me to film. So anyway, again, 5 things that I would do differently. And if you're new to my channel or if this is the first video you've ever watched of mine, I did recently, in May, pass my last CPA exam, and basically my very brief CPA journey was it took me a year to pass the 4 parts of the CPA exam. I started with FAR, I failed my first test, and then I took audit, FAR, BEC, and reg, and I passed my last 4. So I had to take 5 exams total. My scores ranged from 70, then I got 86, 86, 87, 86. So once I figured out a study routine, I felt like going forward, I knew what to do to pass. There were definitely times where I doubted myself, so don't feel like if you're taking the exams right now and you've already taken a couple but you're still doubting yourself that that's weird. It's completely normal. The material is different, but here are some of the things that I would do differently. So like I said, 5 different things that I would do different. First thing, I would not order all my books at one time. So I did use Becker. I loved Becker. Their review just really went along with the way that I learn. So I felt like it was going to be a good choice. It was. I would not change that in a heartbeat. But I did get all my books all at one time, and really I think it was more me just wanting to have them all and like feel prepared and all of that. But the thing about getting the books ahead of time is that they become outdated so quickly. I got I got my new reg book, I think sometime in like March or April, and it's already outdated. It's outdated, I think in July, like that's when a new book is coming into production or whatever. So within a year, it could change a couple times. So what I suggest is only get there's a lot of cars going on around here. All of a sudden it got really busy. Anyway, so I would suggest only getting the book that you're going to be working on. And then when you know you're gonna be taking your next exam pretty soon, like let's say you just took your, you're about to take an exam, you know in the next week or so you're going to be starting to study for the next section, I suggest maybe a week or 2. I don't know exactly how long it takes to process all of that stuff. So like shortly before your exam, schedule to get your other books. I think Becker allows you to either buy all your books at one time or like buy it when or have it delivered when you want it, because you have to buy them all at one time, but when you get them delivered can be chosen. So I definitely recommend doing that. Same thing with the flashcards. The flashcards, I did get the physical flashcards. I never use them, so I would not buy them if I was going to redo that. But I think that's another thing, that if you get the flashcards ahead of time, they could potentially change. So just kind of keep that in mind. My goal was to have all of the CPA exams done in 6 months, and that did not happen. It doubled in time. So of course, the books that I originally got were completely outdated, like completely outdated by the time I got to actually taking like BEC and reg. And you wanna make sure that you're studying the most recent edition. So just kind of keep that in mind. That is definitely one of the things I learned very early on was a huge mistake, was getting all my books all at one time. The second thing that I did that I would never do again is plan all-day study sessions. I originally thought when I first started my CPA journey that I was going to study all day Saturday, all day Sunday, and that way during the week I wouldn't have to study that much. And although that sounds like a great plan, and although that might work for other people, it did not work for me at all. It was miserable, and I started really dreading studying, and I really started having like bad feelings about it. Like I wasn't excited to study, which is weird for me. Usually I start the day kind of excited to study, and that was not the case at all. So I think on average, the max amount of time that I would study was 4 hours. And that was kind of the sweet spot. And I think a lot of people say that because that's how long the exam is. So you're never gonna have to go past 4 hours, or, you know, I think there's breaks in there, but you're never gonna have to go past 4 hours of sitting down and studying at one time. So for me, it was just too long to concentrate. I, again, became aggravated. I wasn't motivated anymore. And so I started doing it where I would study longer periods of time every day. So like, you know, I would try and get 4 hours. I mean, I wouldn't always get 4 hours during the week because that's a lot, but I would try and get as much as I possibly could get done during the weekdays. That way on the weekends, it was still at max 4 hours. And that really worked for me. So again, number 2 would be planning all day study sessions. Definitely do not recommend that. The third thing, and this is gonna be kind of controversial because I know a lot of people say that, you know, you should put your life on hold for this exam, and I do not agree. So the third thing that I say that I would do differently is saying no to fun things. And the reason why, again, this goes back to me studying all day Saturdays, all day Sundays. You need a break. And if you don't have things to look forward to, then your life is going to suck. I have a family, so it might be a little different if you are like single and you're just living on your own. All you have to do is work. I still think that it would be good to have time to have fun and like things to be excited about, but it might be a little bit easier rather than like missing key moments in your kids' lives. Like for me, I started realizing if I don't get to see those moments, like if I don't get to go and like have fun and go boating with my daughter and spend time with family and friends, then like what's the point, you know? So I started just planning out days where, okay, I had to get my studying done before we went, but I would go boating with my family. And then if I didn't get enough studying done in the morning, I would do it at night. I would just stop saying like, I can't do that because I have to study, because saying that and thinking that made studying so much worse for me and made me hate studying. And I don't like that because I actually do enjoy studying. I miss studying to this day. So I stopped doing that. And honestly, I think for me, it just helped me be refreshed and it helped me be excited. Like I would go and I would, you know, go boating, or me and Macy and Jason would go see a movie. And then by the time we got back, I was like, you know what? I know I probably should have been studying. I'm gonna go study for a little bit. I'm gonna get some stuff done. And then I felt good about it and I felt excited and I was motivated to study. So that's definitely the number 3 thing that I would not do. Again, would not order my books all at once. I would not plan all day study sessions, and I would stop saying no to things and blaming it on the CPA because that just did not work for me. The 4th thing that I would do is I would stop studying and stressing the simulations. And again, I feel like this is another controversial thing because for some people it works. For me, it didn't, because every simulation is going to be different. If you study one and you get good at one simulation, you're gonna get another simulation that's different, that has a different number of exhibits. And I feel like actually being able to do the simulations well has most to do with knowing the material. So for me, learning the material was really easy to do when I was doing the multiple choice questions. So I focused I would say after the first exam, maybe first 2 exams, I started realizing, okay, the multiple choice questions are really what's key for me because that's what I'm learning. If I don't know the material, doing the multiple choice questions and seeing how they can ask the questions related to the material helps me learn it. When I'm doing the simulations, honestly, I'm just like putting stuff in and seeing if it's right, and that's not helpful at all. So I started just stressing the multiple choice questions, not stressing the simulations, and honestly it worked all of my exams except for my first one, because again, I was stressing the simulations. I even practiced the simulations quite a bit with my first FAR exam, and again, you're never gonna see the same simulations, so it just didn't make sense for me. So that is one thing that I definitely would not do, is just not stressing the simulations. And honestly, I did not even practice the written portion of BEC, because it's the same thing. If you know the material, you're gonna be able to write about it. If you are not good at writing, then maybe you need to study that. But for me, I was pretty good at writing. That's always been something that I enjoyed doing. So I knew that wasn't gonna be something that I needed to stress. The last thing that I would do differently is I would make sure that every time that I would go through my 2 weeks of review, that I would do the final review that Becker offers. I did do it for 3 exams. I did not do my first FAR exam, and I did not do it for audit, but I did it for my retake of FAR, I did it for BEC, and I did it for reg. And I have to tell you, that not only gave me confidence, but it also really helped me get a good understanding of the material, and of the material that was going to matter, because the regular review course is great, but it covers a ton of material. And at least in my experience, every time I've taken the exam, the final review covers the main points. So there's gonna be some times that, like, you know, the final review doesn't cover a huge section of what is on the regular review. Did I say that right? There's gonna be times. Okay, so like I was saying, there's going to be times where the final review does not cover topics that were covered in the regular review course. What I have found, at least with reg and with BEC, usually when that happens, it's because it's not something that's highly tested. They want to cover it because there's a chance that it could be, but usually those topics that were not covered in the final review but were covered in the regular review, those were not on my exams. So again, you never know. You should still be familiar with the ideas, but for me, those just seem to, again, give me confidence and really just focus on the stuff that I needed to know. So those are the things that I would do differently. Those are the 5 things that I would do differently. Everything else, I mean, I've talked like long and hard about all of the study techniques that I've used and I've changed and all of that, but those are the main things that I did and that I found out pretty quickly did not work for me. So again, number 1, buying all my books at one time. Again, that your study schedule can change, things can come up, you never know what life is going to bring. So doing that is just a recipe for disaster in my book. 2, planning all day study sessions. Again, just something that did not work for me, but could work for other people. I'm not saying that it can't, but for me, I just couldn't do it with the family. 3, saying no to fun things. Again, for me, I have to have fun, exciting things in my life so that I get excited to study, if that makes any sense. 4, studying or stressing the simulations. Again, for me, it didn't matter. If I knew the material, then I was able to do the simulations well enough. And 5, not including the final review in my review. That's definitely something that I would do every single section if I had to retake them. So anyway, I hope that those little tips and tricks and things that I've learned can give you guys some help. If you guys have any questions for me, leave them down below. I did do a couple Q&A videos talking about like answering some of your guys' questions, but I haven't gotten a lot of questions recently. So again, if you guys have questions, leave them down below. I will probably put them into a separate Q&A video. It's just easier to talk about rather than trying to type everything out. So anyway, leave those down below if you guys have more questions. And if your opinions are different than mine, if you think that all-day study sessions are great and it's really worked for you, leave those down below, because I would love to know if people's experiences are different. Again, I think my situation and everybody's situation is going to dictate whether or not something works, but for me, those are the things that did not work and that I do not suggest and I wouldn't do again. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys.